First principles thinking. This is one of my favorite mental models. I reference a lot of things from philosophy and other industries because we can use these already established mindsets and principles and we can flow them into our industry, which is athletic movement and sports and training and coaching. So, first principles thinking, this is a concept that was used by Elon Musk recently. And I'm going to break it down into a story for you. So in 1967, there was an invention that came and changed most of our childhoods. That invention was the training wheel or training wheels. So training wheels, having the ability to ride a bike even if you can't ride a bike. The training wheels allowed you to stay up. So let's think about this. Let's think about riding a bike. Three main skills are comprised of riding a bike. We've got pedaling, we've got steering, and we've got balance, right? So if we can get on a bike and balance and then pedal to get us going and then steer, we're pretty much 99% of the way of riding a bike. Now, training wheels, when you put your training wheels on, they checked one of those boxes. And I guess I'll say 1.5. They checked the pedaling box. You can get on a bike that has training wheels and you can pretty much get going. You can just start pedaling and you go. The steering is a little bit different because if you're not using your balance, you're not fully working on steering and you're definitely not working on balance when there's training wheels on. This is why most kids that have training wheels, when they take them off, they still can't ride a bike. So this wasn't a tool to actually train you to ride a bike, even though that's the name. This was just a tool that allowed you to ride a bike. Because once those training wheels came off, you hadn't trained the most important piece, which was balance. 2007, there's a new bike introduced to the market. It's called the Strider bike. This bike has no pedals, and you just use your feet and you just kind of balance back and forth and you can steer. And so they learn steering and they learn balance. And so then when you put the pedals on, it's really easy to ride a bike, right? And so this is an example of first principles thinking. It's breaking something down to its most fundamental level. It's saying, okay, for riding a bike, we need steering, pedaling, and balancing. Okay, what is the most important part of this? Come to find out, it's the balance, the one thing that we weren't training with training wheels, right? And if we use training wheels, that's called thinking by analogy. It's just thinking by what's already been established in the market, and we're going to just do that. And people were doing that. They were creating different variations of training wheels. They were making them different colors and they were putting streamers on them. So that's called thinking by analogy. It's when you just create another version of what's already established. So we use first principles thinking with athleticism and with training our athletes. We have broken it down to the most fundamental level and not thinking through analogy, not thinking through how are we already training our athletes, which is the practice weight room model, right? If we were to start from scratch and say, what is the most important process of being an athlete, regardless of what's already happening out there? Athletes are on the floor, the court, the field, and they're moving, they're running, they're jumping, they're reacting, they're cutting, they're using their body. And so we started to take the approach of, well, maybe the most important thing is that they understand how to use their body and know the movements and know the angles and know the reactions and even understand how the brain works. And so we started training these movements. We started training their cuts. We started training their run. We started training their reaction. And not just training it, but also educating on it. Hey, athlete one, this is how you're running. This is what you're doing with your foot. This is what you're doing with your hands. This is what you're doing with your positions. And the more we started to actually work on the thing, the athletes just got better and better and better, and their athleticism went through the roof. And this wasn't just in one quadrant like running. This was in movement and jumping and every single one. And those start compounding. The athlete just gets better. And then bringing on skills, when you have better coordination, when you have better balance and you have better body control, all of your sport specific skills just get easier. It's like you practice doing dribbling, but you can't move. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Those two have to be trained cohesively. They have to be coordinated together. As humans, we definitely have to build upon previously established models. But with new technology being introduced, we also have to think for ourselves. All right, so a quote from James Clear on First Principles Thinking is, "Be weary of the ideas you inherit. Old conventions and previous forms are often accepted without question, and once accepted, they set a boundary around creativity." Sometimes a road gets picked for us, and then we go so far down that road that we don't even realize that maybe we're on the wrong road. I'm just going to use UConn women's basketball as an example. We could also throw in TCU women's basketball. Their teams have been running with 8, 9, sometimes not even 10 players because they have season-ending injuries, ACLs, ankles, all sorts of severe injuries. TCU just recently had to cancel a few games because they didn't have enough players to play, and they had to do an open invite for walk-ons, all because of injuries. Now, not all of these are non-contact injuries, but a lot of them are. And UConn's coach, Gino Ariyama, said this: "From orthopedic surgeons down to, our analytics people that sit by their computer every day and stare and try to figure things out, we've never been this comprehensive in everything we do. They are more thorough than they've ever been in what they do." So the question has to be asked, what are you doing? And that's the question that I'm going to leave you with. Because sometimes we do need to continue to build upon a model, but sometimes we have to ask, is it the right model? Make sure to subscribe down below, like this video. We appreciate you being here. We'll catch you on the next one.